Welcome to episode 6 of Sharing Developer Stories, hosted by Tech Rally. Today's guest is CodewithTomi, a passionate 16-year-old developer originally from Nigeria, now living in the UK. He is a Python and Django developer and creates tutorials on his channel, CodewithTomi. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sharing Developer Stories, hosted by Tech Rally. Today I have an awesome guest for you today, Tomi from the CodewithTomi YouTube channel. Hey Tomi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Can you give us a little quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so as you said, my name is Tomi, and I'm from Nigeria, but I live in the UK. And I'm 16, and I'm a web developer, mainly on Python. I'm a Django web developer, and I have a YouTube channel called CodewithTomi where I teach about Django and web development. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen your channel. I really like what you're teaching. It's a very Python and Django heavy, which it's a very good market. So, and I really like the way you teach. So, very good job.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, how did you? I mean, 16 years old. How did you get into coding and web development?
Yeah, it was let me say kind of accidental because I've always wanted to see what was behind all these apps, websites, and everything we use. And I think I just stumbled on this app called SoloLearn through an ad or something. And then I just saw that through programming languages, HTML, this kind of stuff are in the app. And then I just started learning from that app. And since then, I guess I've been moving from one language to another, one framework, till I
How,
landed with Django. And yeah,
wow. How old were you when you first started like learning how to code and things like that?
I think I was 11.
Wow. And
Yeah.
did anyone teach you, or did you just do it by yourself?
Yeah, I just taught myself through. There are plenty of resources online, so I think it's
Huh.
not big of, but yeah.
Like, what kind of resources are we talking about?
Yeah, I mainly started from learning through the documentation part because SoloLearn is an app, it's a mobile app actually. So they teach you with documented tutorials, and
Hmm.
then from there, YouTube is also a good platform. And also on Udemy, I learned a lot from Udemy.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Is anyone in your family, like, did they code or anything, or was it just something that you just kind of were interested in?
Yeah, I and my, I have an elder brother.
Uh-huh.
So I think two of us were the one that code in our
Oh,
family.
I
Yeah.
see. And is he a software engineer or a web developer?
Yeah, a web developer. Yeah, he's a web developer,
Cool,
mainly
cool.
on the front part of
Mainly
web development.
mainly on the front end?
Yeah,
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure he had a really big influence on you on wanting to learn how to code as well, right? I assume.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
And like, what is that app called? How do you spell it?
Solo learn, solo then
Solo.
learn.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that? I'm not as familiar. Is it popular?
Yeah, it's quite
Within the
popular
UK.
it's quite popular on the Play Store, the App Store.
Oh, and then so it's
Yeah.
all like you learn how to code through all just mobile through the mobile app or something like that.
Yeah, through the mobile app.
Oh my goodness, how do you code, right? Like, do you just type on your on your phone and
Right.
stuff like that, or?
Yeah, right. It was just HTML. So they had this HTML editor which I was just using to test run the code. But when I saw that, yeah, I need to go further with programming language and stuff, then I guess I just
Okay,
moved on to the computer.
so after that, then you start to move on to YouTube. So like, did you follow a
Yeah.
lot of like YouTube channels?
Yeah, I followed a lot of YouTube channels, a lot. Um, I think I followed a lot like Brad Traversy and Free Code Camp also had a lot. And
Yeah.
it was recently, like a year ago, I started learning Django. From Django, it was mainly Justin Mitchell from Coding with Entrepreneurs. You know that
Mhm.
channel?
I
Coding
think,
from
yeah, I've
Entrepreneurs.
heard. Yeah, I've heard of that channel.
Yeah, I mainly learned from him and Telusco, if you know. So those two channels I learned from. But very recently, I was also learning the advanced Django tutorials also from Dennis Ivy. They
Mhm.
also have some really good advanced tutorials. So I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
Wow. Do you have any? I mean, if you have like, if you run into any issues and things like that, like, who do you just kind of go look for it yourself? Are there any like mentors or your brother that you talk to like bounce ideas off of? And How does
Yeah,
that
I
work?
guess I just look for it myself because there are
Okay.
a lot of places online. Like if I just search Google or Stack Overflow,
Hmm.
almost all errors are there. Yeah.
Right.
And me and my other brother, we do like different part of coding. It's mainly on the front end design. I'm on the server side, back end development. So yeah,
Dang, that's awesome. I mean, at 16 years old, that's really impressive, especially like doing like back end stuff. You know, it's never too easy. Um,
yeah,
yeah, like I know you live in the UK, but you grew up in Nigeria. What
yeah.
was it like growing up in Nigeria? And were there a lot of people wanting to learn how to code?
Yeah, growing up in Nigeria was pretty fun, playing around with friends, going to school and all this. It was pretty fun moving from house to house. If one friend is not doing a celebration, the other is doing so. Nigeria is pretty fun to live in actually. And
Hmm.
I think I don't have a lot of friends that are into coding. Yeah, but coding, I must say, coding is quite a big thing in Nigeria. It's quite popular. A lot of people code in Nigeria. But amongst my friends, I think I only have like one or two that know what it is, but I
Yeah.
don't have one that really code here.
I mean, there's not a lot of 16, 15, 16-year-old coders too much. And if they do, it's relatively like at a smaller scale. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you're kind of ahead of the game, if I can, if in my opinion. But
Yeah.
as a maybe like someone that's 16 years old, like what do you think for you was like the biggest barrier to entry into like tech?
Yeah, I guess it's overwhelming. It's kind of overwhelming because there are
Right.
a lot of, I would say, like different parts or categories in coding. Or let me say niche in coding. Like there's web development, game development, machine learning. So as a beginner, when you want to start, you might not know which one to go into first. There are two like various. Like when I started, I was just diving from game development to web development to mobile app to. But I think later you know where your strength is and what you
Hmm.
really want to do. So the barrier of getting started for me was kind of overwhelming because of different various
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because I think some people like you watch those videos where they say like the 5 coding languages you need to learn, or they say
Yeah,
like the 10 frameworks you need to learn, but
yeah,
it's just really, really hard to just kind of learn everything,
yeah,
right? So I think as long as you're good in one specific niche or things like that, you could expand as needed. But it's like as a new coder, I don't think you should try to learn everything because it's just like really hard.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, really.
and I know your YouTube channel, like it mostly focuses around like Python and Django. Like, what was the motivation behind using, like, kind of being more of like a? I don't want to like put you in a small corner and say just Python, but like, what made you want to start with Python and specifically Django?
Yeah, I guess I just like stumbled into using Python and Django because,
Hmm.
as I said, I was moving from one
Hmm.
to another. So,
Yeah.
but when I saw Python, first of all, because I first learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, C++, some other languages, but I fell in love with Python like almost all developers. And yeah, I guess it was like I just love the syntax and the simplicity and how powerful it is. And one of the most popular frameworks or one of the most popular niche in Python is the web development.
Hmm.
And when researching, it's mostly the first thing you see, which was Django that I saw that I just stumbled into. And I
Yeah.
guess since then I loved, the web development space, how to build website, how to take this idea from your head and turn it into a product. Yeah. I
Right.
guess that would
Right.
be fun, Yeah.
So, what I know in Python for web development, it's like either Django or Flask. Like, what did you also look into Flask as well, or did you just kind of go straight into Django?
Yeah, I looked at Flask as well. The
Hmm.
Flask is quite easier to learn than Django. There are some differences, like Flask is very lightweight, like very lightweight. And as a beginner, I would recommend to get started with Flask. If you know Flask, then it's very easy to know Django, to go into Django.
Hmm.
Because Flask and Django, they do pretty much similar things, but Django has like a large scale. It has more capabilities than Flask, in my opinion. But the both are still very good frameworks. They have their pros and cons. Then when you see them, you might know the one you are comfortable with.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And with your YouTube channel, like, what was the motivation behind starting it? When did you actually start it? Actually.
Yeah, I started the channel, I think 2019, ending
Okay.
of 2019. So I first started with programming with Tomi,
Mm-hmm.
but some things happened. I deleted the channel because I didn't like the content I was putting out. Getting no views, I was demotivated and stuff like that. I just deleted the channel. But last year, like middle last year, around June, I think yeah, July 22nd, then I started the channel again, and this time around named it Code with Tomi.
Mm-hmm.
I just started with I recently finished learning Django when I started. So, and the way I like learning to know more, I like teaching because if I explain to someone, I see that I also understand it better as well. So, I
Right.
was teaching myself by creating videos, not to post on YouTube, just to teach myself that I can go back to watch later
Oh
and
wow.
then just
Yeah.
then I think my dad or someone, yeah, my dad, then he told me to like put it out. And then yeah, I started the CodewithTomi channel and then I started creating more content on Python. I did a Python series and moved to Django, then building project. Yeah. So that's how I did it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you like being a kind of a YouTuber, but like a YouTube programmer? Do you enjoy making content?
But yeah, I didn't get that.
Oh, I was just asking, do you enjoy making the YouTube content, the YouTube tutorials, and things
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, but I do enjoy it now. But
Mm-hmm.
when getting started is quite demotivating. It doesn't. It's quite discouraging because you post your first video, you get hyped, you anticipate it, and just see like one view or two views,
Mm-hmm.
which might still be you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was quite demotivating. But just putting more, you get to a point in which YouTube will just start recommending your videos for people. And even if you're not getting too much views, but when you're seeing people dropping comments, people liking, people saying they want to subscribe to your channel, yeah, it keeps me motivated, that more and more people are still to come to
Yeah.
my channel.
Yeah, I totally get that too. I mean, when I first started, I was probably getting I think I was pretty happy about getting 100 subscribers, and now
I was
it's
very
like yeah.
yeah,
I think like it's like the 100 and then the
yeah,
500 and then like once you hit
yeah,
the 1,000 yeah, so I definitely know how you feel, but it's all about the consistency and just making sure like if I had to like give you any like recommendation or anything, it's probably just enjoy what you're doing first before
yeah,
waiting for the
yeah,
subscribers because I feel like the subscribers will come because they'll like know how good your work is, you know?
yeah,
So yeah, but yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I can't really say much too because I think you have 2,000 plus subscribers now,
Yeah,
right?
2000 plus, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, your growth has been pretty fast considering you started in what, July? So it's been about 6 months.
I think collaborations also helped with reaching a larger audience. So like I
Mm-hmm,
did a
mm-hmm.
collaboration with Dennis Ivy, with Free Code Camp. So I think that will also bring their audience to your own channels. So I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
That makes sense, and, like, sharing the audience to you is actually very motivating to a lot of people 'cause, especially
Yeah,
in software development, there's always this, like, idea, like, "Am I too old to be a software developer? Am I too young to be a software developer?" So, seeing both
yeah.
ends of the spectrum is actually really nice, so, kudos to you. When did you move to the UK, and, like, why did you move from Nigeria to the UK?
Yeah, I moved late last year, like December
Oh, wow.
2020. I recently moved actually. Yeah. So I just moved. My family was actually moving, so we all moved just to get exposure, explore the world more and then see how it is in the Western world also. So I guess we just moved to just see, to explore
Mhm,
basically, and
mhm.
maybe from there we might live here and yeah.
Do you feel like, you've met a lot of different software developers in the UK? I mean, I guess you moved during the pandemic, but still, like, do you
Yeah,
see
that's
yeah,
actually a big problem.
yeah, so probably not as many you
Yeah,
couldn't,
during
like,
the
go out and meet too many people, right?
yeah, that's the problem. I plan to attend meetups and attend hackathons and all those kind of stuff, but due to this pandemic, I don't think
Mhm,
that's gonna be possible. Yeah.
yeah. So right now you're mostly focused on like back end and things like that. Like what are you kind of really interested in outside of maybe like Python and Django? Like what would be your next like endeavor, or do you want to just keep diving into Python and Django even deeper and learning how to like build scale?
Yeah, I would love to like go into the AI field, the machine learning field, because
Mhm.
I see that is like booming right now, and it's also going to be very good because if I know the how to train models and do all those machine learning stuff and also integrate it with my web development skills, I think it would be a nice thumbs up for me. So I think the machine learning niche or environment where I want to go into.
Right. I assume that you've been working with your brother a lot, and your brother is probably working as well. Like, do you want to work at companies, or like, what are you, or do you just kind of want to build apps for yourself right now?
Yeah, I want to work at companies also, but I like the let me say the idea of being my own boss,
Hmm.
building up my own let's say tech startup or solving a problem, looking for a problem, solving it and putting it into my own product. So I think yeah, I would love to work for companies, to get experience of how the business side run, but I would love to be my own boss.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're way ahead of the game compared to a lot of us, and I wish I like could go back to my 16-year-old self and be like, "Oh wow, I wish I knew all what I knew now." So I feel like you're surrounded by a lot of good people around you, your dad and your brother, who kind of are pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So that's rather really impressive. But yeah, like what kind of uh problems do you want to solve actually? Like what would you like to solve with your technical skills?
Yeah, automating things for that's why I would love to get into the machine learning community just because I see with machine learning there are a lot of things I could solve like actually getting ideas for what to solve is not something that I can say just after the blue. I think it will just come like naturally. You might see something one day and just be like, yeah, this is a problem and how to
Mhm.
solve it. Or might be a problem you stumbled into and you know that yeah, other people will face this problem and you want to solve it. So
Right.
yeah, I guess I'll still know.
Yeah, that's I mean, you don't have I mean, you as long as you have the skills, then and when you find the problem, you could solve it right away. So I totally respect that. But in terms of like the products or applications you've built so far, maybe with your brother or by yourself, like, can you explain a few of your projects?
Yeah, I was just building projects to practice to improve my skills. Yeah, I dived into the blockchain type and programming, or how can I put it? Let me say the blockchain niche,
Hmm.
now to integrate it with the web development, build Bitcoin, built a Bitcoin wallet. I built like a password safe. I also wanted to take that into a product, but I like being original or being unique because I see there are lots of different password safe like Dashlane and stuff. So, but I think that I've built some projects like just various web development projects. If I see this idea, I'll build it. If I see this, I'll just clone it just to improve my skills. Yeah,
Right.
but product or something, no, I don't think I've built
Right.
like a
So right now
product.
you're mostly focused on just the like not necessarily a product, but you're focused on just improving your skills that when a
Yeah,
product does come, you'll know what to
yeah,
do. That,
exactly.
that makes sense. So I mean kind of steering away from maybe like what your goals are. In terms of learning, I know a lot of people in this industry, they have a hard time becoming software developers or just learning how to code, what would you kind of recommend? I mean, you started at 11, so I would assume that you probably figured out a good strategy for you to learn new things. Like, what kind of recommendations would you give someone that's trying to learn how to code, like what they need to do?
Yeah, to me, the right resources to make it easier for a beginner to learn how to code. Because on YouTube, there are lots of beginner programming tutorials. But I guess like if you want to learn how to code and you are okay with learning through documentation, I would recommend W3 School if you know the website.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that website is makes everything simplified
Right.
for a beginner to get into coding. But if you are like you love videos, tutorials, looking at someone teaching you or something like that, yeah, YouTube is a very great platform for that. And there are various channels or various tutorials on getting into coding and programming in general.
Are
So I
there
think
any? Oh, sorry. Please continue. My bad.
no, I'm done.
Oh no, you're not okay. Well, I was gonna ask, is there any specific YouTube channels that really helped you? I know you mentioned Traversing Media,
Uh,
but
Free Code Camp
maybe
is a
even
very
Free
great
Code.
channel because they also connect different content creators. So once you, let's say you learn this, you learn Python from Free Code Camp and you love the way that instructor teach, you can go to his channel, check out his
Mm,
yeah. So I think Free Code Camp is a very, very great channel.
right, right. And when you're kind of learning how to code, did you ever experience kind of that imposter syndrome, or just this idea like, oh, I can't be a coder, or was it just more kind of this enjoyment and I'll just figure it out, and if I break, I just keep going kind of thing?
Yeah, I didn't, let me say, experience imposter syndrome or something like that. I just, because I'm somebody that I believe in myself. I have this, let's say, charisma. Yeah, I lift myself up. So I don't believe like I see something and I say I can't do this or something. As long
Right,
as somebody else can do it, yeah, I'm sure that I also can do it because we are both human beings, I think. So I think I was just enjoying the moment and yeah, I didn't feel down on myself.
right. And I I noticed that you mentioned documentation a few times. For a lot of new developers, they have kind of, maybe they do have imposter syndrome when they read something
Yeah.
so rich in text. Like, how are you able to break it down, read documentation, and is it just kind of something that you just inherently know, or was there ways where you just kind of read sections and you just try to like wait and absorb it and then move on to the next page, or was it something that you could just like skim through for you?
Yeah, exactly. Because W3 school, they also give you exercises.
Mm,
So once I pass through a section, if I don't get it, I'll go back. If I still don't get it, try to do exercises. And so not everybody is perfect. Yeah, sometimes you might get stuck even when learning. But practicing, I think practicing that particular, uh, let's say where you don't really understand, I think it's going to help you a lot.
hmm.
Like if you're learning, let's say, for example, Python, and you don't really get the concept of for loops, let's say you are using the documentation part, you can also go to YouTube and go search for a video about for loops just to know more about that. Then you can come back and continue with your learning. So I
Right.
think,
Yeah, and I think generally people are just like pretty impatient with their learning, because so a lot of times they just want to learn through videos but not actually do it. Like, how much doing did you do versus just watching a tutorial? Like, if you had to put a percentage of actual you watching a tutorial and then like doing what you need to do to make sure you understand it, like in terms of percentage, what are you? How important is it to actually do versus just watch?
yeah, I think watching is also a very important part because obviously that's
Mhm,
what's going to get you into it. But doing is what is going to give you that experience of a developer
mhm.
practicing. Yeah, like I like when you watch, let's say, a particular Python course or JavaScript course, then you go and practice, use it to build something. Yeah, or if you're watching a tutorial video on building a particular project, you don't just watch, you can watch it, follow as long as they are coding, and then you can later drop that and then build something similar just to make sure you are not just watching, but you are really learning from what you're watching.
Right, right. And like even for new developers, like how would you recommend dealing with errors, and should I just go to Google right away, or should I try to actually read the errors, or what's your process first? Do you try to read the errors and then if you don't understand then Google? Like, what's
Exactly.
the got it,
Yeah.
got it.
I first try to read the errors, try to debug it myself. Whatever I
Hmm.
see is out of like what I don't know how to do, then I just go
Hmm.
to Google or Stack Overflow and I see the solution. And I guess once I see the solution, next time when I come to the error, I don't need to Google it again. So it's
Right.
just a process of getting better and better. So I
Right.
think first trying to debug it yourself is a great way to start.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, you're literally just that's what a software developer is. I think sometimes it's like you're a problem solver, you're a bug reader. You have to do a
Yeah,
lot of documentation reading. Sometimes you might not know what these like functions do that's built into the library, so you got to read the documentation, or you could like look into the source code. Either way, like I think sometimes people think software development is just like, oh, just always Google everything, but it's actually there's a bit of
there's
work
much.
involved. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, 2020, I know your YouTube channel has been blowing up, and obviously I love seeing your videos, but like, what are your goals for 2020?
Yeah, my main goal for 2020, I'll say, is to grow my YouTube channel more than what it is now, because it's still a very, pretty small channel. So
Right.
just to grow a YouTube channel, like do let's say a video that can reach a wider audience,
Hmm.
and release courses, many to simplify getting into programming for beginners, because it's pretty overwhelming, as I said. So just to simplify it, to grow my YouTube channel mainly is my goal for 2020.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's a very good goal to have. I mean, I know that I say 2000 a lot, and like I mean, my channel is like slowly and slowly growing, but obviously we have like aspirations to reach a
Yeah,
wider audience so we could help
yeah.
them. If you do make a course, I mean, what do you think is going to be your first? Would you be targeting like Python directly, or would you try to do like the HTML, CSS, and Python?
Yeah. I like to do it full stack,
Got it.
because because most of the times the person you are teaching, if you just do only, let's say, Django, or just only the back end, might not understand the front end. And I see a lot of developers, some are just back end, some are just front end. Yeah, that's quite good. But if you are a full stack developer, it's a big thumbs up for you, because if you run into a problem on the front end, you know what to do. If you run into a problem on the back end, you know what to do. So if I'm gonna do a course, I'll like explain more on the front end and the back end, any full stack.
Yeah. And I noticed that you kind of value a lot. I mean, you value reading documentation, but you also create documentation for yourself through your videos and your blogs. How helpful has it been to be able to like blog about your learning and also creating content on YouTube for your learning?
Yeah, it has been good, because sometimes I just go back to my old videos and I just watch, and it's good to see how far you have come and how you have improved. Like
Right.
on my YouTube channel, I, I yesterday or this morning I went to check my first video, and I was just enjoy seeing how far I have come, how I have improved in the quality,
Mhm.
how more experience that I have. Yeah, it's quite good feeling.
Yeah, I think even based on this conversation, you could definitely grow your YouTube channel to even give advice about how you go through the process of learning how to code. And because I think you're in a unique position where you are relatively young compared to most software developers, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you should be pigeonholed to being like, oh, he's just a young developer. You sound like you're a very smart dude, and you have a lot of knowledge. So to be able to kind of impact people around your age and others to get into software development, I think that's another aspect that I think you could definitely target with your channel. So I kind of encourage you to do that as well.
Okay, okay. I'll look into that. Thanks.
No, I really mean it because I think that even like talking to you right now, you just have this great amount of knowledge, and it's just kind of this. I mean, obviously, I love the tutorials, and I don't know if you've ever seen my channel. Like that's kind of how I started off, where I was doing something that I was really comfortable with, which was teaching people how to code. But I
Yeah,
think there's also an aspect where it is really motivating to see someone like just hearing someone's story, essentially, like hearing my story, hearing your story of how you actually learned how to code. It really is every story is going to be different. Like I'm not going to have your story, you're not going to have my story, but each
yeah.
story kind of leads still to like, oh, how I became a software developer. So if I could give you one like encouragement or like advice, definitely share that side, because the first videos are going to be a little rough, like kind of like how you looked at your first videos for tutorials, but
Yeah.
if when you get more and more comfortable, it's definitely going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
if I could even give you one like subject title, it'd just be like how I got into software development or how I got into coding. I think that would be a good one. I would want to watch something like that, especially for your channel. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks.
No, no problem. This is a little bit of a shorter podcast, but I always still want to end it with like a really general theme or like some kind of life lesson. For you, I was thinking about this a lot, and I know I saw your Twitter banner, and you said that everyone can code. Can you
Yeah.
expand on that a little bit? Because do you think like everyone could be a software developer, or do you think like everyone can just code and with code they could do something else?
Yeah. I think everyone can code. I think there's no discrimination to coding or let's say a particular requirement. The only requirement I think for coding is just the motivation and the passion. If you have that, you really want to learn. There is nobody that can't code. There is no age limit. I think anyone can code. That's basically what I think. I think if you have the passion and it's not a must that you're really absolutely smart or a guru or something. If you just get started, yeah, you're gonna see that you're gonna do more than what you expected.
Yeah, that's so true. I know I said I was gonna end it, but you make up a really good point in a sense that I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of coding channel videos where it's like, should I go to college? Should I go self route? Should I go to coding boot camp? I'm a coding bootcamp grad myself, but doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to do that. And to your story, you're able to learn how to code at 11, and now you're able to build backends APIs through Python and Django, build out a full stack web applications. So yeah, yeah, you're definitely right on that point. It's like there really isn't a barrier to learn how to code
Yeah.
besides yourself. Yeah. And
Eh,
it's not like we're saving lives. Like it's not like we have to if you want to be a doctor or like a dentist or a lawyer, you kind of have to go through the schooling. But with
yeah,
coding, yeah.
with coding you can develop yourself.
Yeah, and yeah, you even said it too, like free code camp, any like
Yeah,
YouTube videos. You could really just kind of the world is your oyster for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Everything
Yeah.
is simplified and easy to get now.
Yeah, yeah. And before I close out, Tommy, do you want to give us any kind of knowledge, or if you want to share anything about your channel or anything like that?
Yeah, you can go check out my channel. Yeah, I have a channel called Code with Tomi.
Hmm.
So, as we said earlier, I teach Python and Django and web development. So you can go check out my channel. And I have a Python course, like a 4 hours Python course coming soon. So you can stay tuned for that. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Cool. And like, what would be the best way to contact you if someone wants to send you a message or things like that?
Yeah, on Twitter is the best way to contact me. I'm very active on Twitter, maybe too much. On Twitter is the best way to contact me.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. And I'm gonna be on the lookout for the course. And when you make it, please let me know, and I'll definitely plug it into this channel, specific to this video, and we'll get people start learning how to code. But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for coming on. Man, I love your story, and you just have a lot more potential than I will ever have. So I'm very impressed. Like I'm very impressed, and I'm sure your family's very impressed with you too. So just keep on coding, and I'm gonna be on the lookout. Maybe I'll even buy the course because I'm not as
No,
familiar with Python, but
it's a
I'm gonna enjoy it. Wait, sorry, what?
it's a free course on YouTube.
Oh, it's a free course. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, definitely even better. So, uh, yeah, like definitely let me know. I'll plug it into my this video and maybe even future videos. So,
Uh,
I'm all about sharing the love. So, I want good exposure for me means good exposure for you. Everything's all good. So,
uh,
yeah, but
thank you.
yeah, of course, yes. Thanks for coming on, and yeah, that's the end of the show. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.